Alrighty, here we go again. Ah, shit, here we go again. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a little while. Sorry, I just want to take a drink before we really get started. I know it's been a little while since we talked. And I realize that. That's my bad. I had plenty of time to make another video, but I couldn't. I was looking at what, I was actually watching the news, and I saw the article. It was an article. I just saw the thing about how Trump said that he was the chosen one for Jews. And I kind of just was like, no, I don't want to tackle that right now. I don't know if you guys want me to tackle that, because I genuinely don't care enough. Because it's just a stupid thing, all right? It's stupid. Just like Prager University. Haha, great segue. Okay, so Prager University. I'm just going to touch on them again, and we'll see if we get down to here. We might just do the Prager U, and I'll save the Steven Crowder for another day. So, we got one person in the stream watching. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. All right, so this is Goodbye Columbus Day, presented by, actually, oddly enough, Steven Crowder. So let's give it a watch, unfortunately.
Thanksgiving, Independence Day, Memorial Day. Holidays are a great time to riddle Americans with needless oppressive guilt. But the one that stands head and shoulders above the...
What? Hold on, let's run that by again. Okay, so Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's not the elementary/middle school interpretation of the first Thanksgiving that everybody knows, where it was peaceful. It was a brutal slaughter of the natives. Well, no, that wasn't the first one. It just wasn't the storybook story that you've been told when you were a kid. History is a lot different than that. Independence Day, I mean, this country has its faults, and if you can't, I feel that if you as an American cannot see America for its faults, you're not truly an American, and you need to stop acting like you're a patriot. Because a patriot knows that their country messed up, but that their country is going to do better in the future, not regress. And Memorial Day... Wait, what did he say again?
Time to riddle Americans with needless oppressive guilt.
The oppressive guilt about what? You mean the oppressive guilt of honoring the dead servicemen who fought in our wars? Yeah, it's Stephen. God. I hate it. It's the worst. I always feel bad for all those people who died and stuff. What's going through your head? Memorial Day is it? What? I don't understand that.
One that stands head and shoulders above the rest is Columbus Day. The day where progressives indoctrinate your children into believing Columbus to be Satan incarnate, the USA to be his evil spawn, and the Native Americans to be pacifists. And so now we have Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, I see nothing wrong with that. There was a bit wrong with your narrative.
Indoctrinate your children into believing Columbus to be Satan incarnate.
Well, Christopher Columbus was not Satan incarnate, as you want to, say in your terrible conservative comedic sense. He was a very bad guy. There are many, many accounts. There was a very vivid account of a crewman talking about the fact that Columbus gave one of the native women to him, an underage girl, to him as a present. And do you know why Christopher Columbus... Because Christopher Columbus probably could have kept going back and forth to America and back to Spain. You want to know why they stopped? Because the Queen of Spain saw that what he was doing was fucked up, and she stopped it. Even back then, she knew that he was fucked up. So you can't pull that of like, oh, it's a modern day SJW liberal thing. No, 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 no. Even the Queen of Spain back then, I think it was Queen Isabella. Even she knew that he was fucked up. Oh, and what is the
The
next part?
USA to be his evil spawn and the
Okay, the USA is not his evil spawn. Fun fact: Columbus never actually discovered America as we know it. He never discovered North America. He discovered the Caribbean. So yeah. And Leif Erikson discovered Canada, which is more in line with North America. Really shoddy on your history there, Stephen Crowder.
Americans to be pacifists. And so now we have Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, nobody's saying that the Native Americans were pacifists. What they were people who were wrongly robbed of their land. And while, yes, you could make the argument of, well, they didn't know. Yeah, but later on down the road, there are plenty of examples of Native American just backstabs and... Hold on, let's... Native American... Massacres. Massacres. Oh, here we go. The list of Indian massacres in the colonial era. So from 1500. Well, we're gonna skip all the Spanish stuff. Like, this is important, yes. The Jamestown massacre in 1622. The Wasagawa affair. There's just Staten Island, Massacre of Staten Island. I knew about a few of these, not all of these. I'm trying to see, where is Battle in Fort William Henry, capture of Fort Sandusky, killings by the Paxton Boys, Battle of Wyoming, Cherryville Massacre, Stockbridge Massacre. Dites Massacre. Oh wait, what is this? History of European. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure because that was I think it's both. Okay, but you've got okay. So from 1783. So we'll even include the ones of the Revolution, but you know, let's just go down here. Skull Creek Massacre, Fort Parker Massacre. Where's the one that I know? There's one really big one that I know. Is it Battle Creek? Was it Battle Creek? I can't remember. I always forget the name. It was definitely in the 1850s. Was it not in the 1850s? I mean, I'm just going through this, and like you could see that there's here it is, Sand Creek Massacre. This is the one I was thinking of, which basically the people of the Colorado, the tribes of the Colorado area, were basically pushed out continuously and continuously and continuously, and finally, what happened was is that they were actually a band of the three leaders of the different tribes were heading off to an American fort, and the commander just told them to open fire, killing the peaceful ones. So, I mean, come on. I mean, look at all this shit. Look at it. Like, look at all this. Like, you cannot... And yes, there were acts of Indian on settler violence But that was because they were trying to defend their home. If somebody came, if a group of aliens came in, and I'm talking about like outer space extraterrestrials came in and tried to take your land, you would try and fight back. Okay? So don't say that. That's what these people were trying to do. They were trying to fight back.
Or as it would have been named 30 years ago, Aboriginals Day. Or as it would have been named 10 or 15 years ago, Native Americans Day. Or as it could be named tomorrow in Canada, First Nation Peoples Day. Feeling the urge to self-inflict grievous bodily harm yet? That's only natural because the whole charade has become an exercise in hating Western civilization.
No, actually. It's basically saying that we're not celebrating a murderer. Christopher Columbus was a murderer. He murdered people. You know, like a murderer does. He did some terrible things. I don't think we want to have a holiday for people who did absolutely despicable things. Now, some people say, oh, but what about Jefferson and Washington? They owned slaves. And it's like, yes, they owned slaves. But they didn't have sex with underage girls as far as we know. They didn't sell underage girls back in Spain in a brothel sort of way. These are all documented things. Look it up. It's absolutely horrifying what Christopher Columbus did.
Which is really just an exercise in hating yourself.
No, Stephen Crowder, you talking makes me hate myself. Because I think every day, my God, somebody made that. And they're not ashamed. I feel sorry for you, Stephen Crowder.
First, as far as Columbus goes, the guy deserves some credit, right? Flawed, to be sure, but he was the greatest navigator of his age, the first across the Atlantic from the continent of Europe, and he did so without any maps and only 3 small ships.
Okay, let's break this down. Greatest navigator of all time. No. Christopher Columbus was actually very stupid because basically people had already figured out, even in the time of the ancient Greeks, how big the earth was. And he was saying that if you traveled westward from Europe, you could hit Asia. But people knew that that was not right. That it just didn't seem right, but they didn't know exactly what was over there. Because it wasn't well documented. Again, the last time it was visited was in the 1200s by the Vikings. No. It was way earlier than that. Again, my ancient Viking history is not very good. But that's the thing, is that he wasn't even going for America. He was trying to find Asia. I'd say that Henry the Navigator, who was a Portuguese navigator who went around the Cape of the Good Hope, the southern tip of Africa, to get to Asia. I believe, he might have circumnavigated the globe too. All without maps. And flawed is an understatement. Again, he is a terrible human being. What did he say exactly?
Person across the Atlantic from the continent of Europe, and he did so without any maps and only 3 small ships. If you can name them, by the way, comment below, as I'm sure your professor can't. But
oh my God, it's not that hard. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Everybody has to learn it when they're younger. And I'm pretty sure most professors, especially history professors, would know this. And also they would know that Christopher Columbus was a very bad man who did very bad things to native peoples. Literally, if you look up, I forget what statistic it was, but I saw in an academic paper, I don't remember exactly where, but if you look it up, I just want to see if, oh, no, the person went away. Okay. But if you look at, there's an academic paper out there. I forget exactly what it's called, but if you look it up, it basically said that the population of that island that it was the island of Hispaniola, which is the modern day Dominican Republic, and Dominican Republic and fuck, what's the other one called? Haiti. I don't know why I blanked. Hi. Sorry, my cat's like going all over the place. Susie, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. What are you meowing about? Cool, my cat's distracting me from recording. Yeah, you're just wrong, Stevie Crowder.
Your professor probably has taught you the tale of Columbus as a villain, usually as a starting off point to indict the United States as a whole, often relying on a few key myths and some pivotal lies by omission. So, to start with, I'll bet that you probably believe Columbus and other European settlers to simply have committed mass genocide against Native Americans. Sorry, indigenous. But here's the truth. While there were many examples of brutal warfare between Europeans and Native Americans, neither side actually committed genocide. In fact, there was never an outright policy of Indian extermination.
No. Son of a bitch. I don't... Ah. God damn it. Sorry. Anyway, while there was never an express policy of Indian extermination, or Native American, indigenous, what have you, while there was never an express policy, the crimes that Christopher Columbus committed are irreprehensible. This man started the, I don't know if you all know, but if you talk about, if you ever get into a situation and you're learning about Belgium in the Congo in the 1880s and 1890s, basically during the colonization of Africa, the scramble for Africa, you'll learn that people were told that they had to get a certain quota of rubber, and that if they didn't meet that quota, they would cut off their hands. This was true for what Columbus did too. He would cut off their hands too. That and for stealing as well. So, while that is not necessarily brutal, again, child slavery. Not cool, man. Child slavery. Child slavery. Child slavery. Child slavery. Also, no professor uses Christopher Columbus to say that just because he was bad, that everything else about America is absolutely awful. Again, while America has done terrible things in the past, it is our patriotic right to recognize them and to understand them and to make sure that it never happens again. That's what we need to do as Americans and as good patriots. We need to make sure that the likes of this thing are brought to our attention and not swept under the rug. Oh, almost knocked over my mic. Yeah, nothing.
The Native Americans were mostly wiped out through infection.
I'm trying to see. Is my camera okay? Hold on. I'm going to open up my OBS. So, okay. It's a good camera angle. I'll keep that there then. Sorry. Where were we?
The Native Americans were mostly wiped out through infectious diseases that the settlers had inadvertently brought with them. Of estimated 250,000 natives in Hispaniola, Columbus's first stop in the Americas in 1492, new infectious diseases wiped out a staggering 95% of their population by 1517.
Okay, well, this is true about this. It doesn't mean... Okay, you're leaving out the brutal treatment that Columbus subjected these peoples to. Because even if these people didn't have the immune system to really cope with it, strenuous amounts of work and, being fearful and things like that, a lot of those things lead to the weakening of your immune system, which leads to the easy spread of disease. If Columbus had just stopped there, charted it out, and lived peacefully with the natives, would disease have spread? probably, would it have spread to the capacity that you see here in this graph, which is, again, not really a scholarly graph? Again, that's a very big hypothetical, but I have to assume that with the natives not being, with their immune systems not being weakened, they probably would be able to combat the diseases. Maybe not entirely effectively, but at least to some extent that they could at least not be wiped out like this at a 95. I don't think it was 95. I think it was a little less than that.
As far as genocide by violence, you can look at any historical account of even the most one-sided battles and find that they were still just that. Battles. Take Wounded Knee, although hundreds of years later I only bring it up because I know that if I don't, you will. It's become ubiquitous with the idea of Native American genocide. After all, there were 150 to 350 Aboriginals killed or wounded. That's terrible. But there were also 25 American soldiers killed and 39 wounded.
Okay, the Battle of Wounded Knee was the Americans going in to try and push the, I believe it was the Sioux. Was it the Sioux? I want to look this up so I don't get it wrong, because I don't want to feed you misinformation. Look, Wounded Knee Massacre. And if you have a problem with me using Wikipedia, I genuinely don't care. Here we go. Look at this. The Wounded Knee Massacre, also called the Battle of Wounded Knee, was a domestic massacre of several hundred Lakota Indians, mostly women and children, by soldiers of the United States Army on the Wounded Knee Creek on the Lakota Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in the U.S. state of South Dakota, following a botched attempt to disarm the Lakota camp. They were trying to go in there and disarm them, and it didn't work. And look at this. Look at the strength. Look at that okay. Okay, yeah, he says, 25 killed with 39, 6 fatally wounded. Okay, they went in with the entirety of the 7th U.S. Cavalry, 438 troopers, 200. They went in with a whole cavalry brigade in order to wipe out, to do this. Did you need that many people? You ended up killing 250 to 300 people. How? I don't understand. And you're like, well, okay, if this was a full-fledged battle, what would have happened is, is not this. A battle implies that it is two armies or a group of people. These men, these women and children clearly were not there to fight, and yet they were still caught in the crossfire and killed. So, are you telling me that it's okay? Also, largest domestic massacre in U.S. history. Fuck you, Steven Crowder. Fuck you so hard. You are so stupid. Anyway, and you might be like, oh, but it's justified because 25 people died. 250 people, at least 200 women and children were murdered. Murdered. If you have to say that the lives of 250 women and children are equal to the 25 servicemen, you're crazy. And I know that I'm now saying that I'm dissing the servicemen. I have high respect for people who are in the military. It is a job that I could never do myself. But you also have to see this in the context of these men were going in there only to disarm. They were not going in there for a fight. And somehow or another, it got botched and things happened. So, yeah. Anyway.
Genocide. That's a one-sided beatdown with Old Glory wielding the hammer. And sometimes the massacres went the
Still
other
a,
direction.
still a
See the
massacre.
Apaches for reference, or the Comanches, or a dozen or so other tribes.
Oh, you mean those tribes that were being relentlessly persecuted by the United States government, so they thought that their best option was to, in fact, exact revenge against white settlers? Yeah, that's a great comparison. Again, do I need to go back to the list of known massacres against Native Americans? Sand Creek. Sand Creek was a perfect example of people who were not fighting in the slightest. They did not fight. They did not put up a fight. And yet, they were still massacred by the United States Army. Why don't you talk about that one? Instead, you talk about, the other one. Very curious. Very curious, Susie. Very curious.
The natives often gave as good as they got. Not exactly the way genocide usually tends to work. Here's another thing I bet you've been made to...
Okay, the whole of the campaign was not a genocide. Also, I love how you switched. I know that you were saying that, you were going back, but still. You were going in the future, but if you have to go into the future for your argument, you've already lost. You're talking about Columbus. Stay in the time period of Columbus. Do not go... Anyway.
That many Native Americans, American Indians, I don't know what, take your pick, lived in harmony with the environment until Columbus arrived, and European settlers destroyed the land with their evil technology. Truth, not only did the natives brutally take out people, but they took out entire forests and hunted species to extinction.
Okay, that's a bison, or a buffalo. Those were not hunted to extinction by the natives. Those were hunted to extinction by Americans in order to hurt the natives. Oh yes, the bison was almost wiped out of existence. Bison, buffalo, depends on what this is. But they were wiped out almost to extinction because they wanted to hurt the natives. There are literally accounts of them just slaying buffalo, and some of them just leaving their carcasses out to rot so that they can't be used by the natives. And that whole thing about tribes, yes, of course tribes were warring. Nobody's saying that they were peaceful until Columbus came there. No, there were wars between the tribes. This has always been a known fact that they still wanted resources that the other tribe had that they didn't. Okay? That's not debated. And yes, they did do that thing where they burned down entire... Well, that wasn't all tribes. That was a few tribes. That wasn't... I don't believe that was a common... Again, my understanding of Native American history, pre-Columbus, Native American history is kind of shoddy. Even post-Columbus. I don't really know much about Native Americans until we start getting into the Revolutionary War. Well, 7 Years' War, Revolutionary War, I'll be honest with you. But, again, whatever.
Guading Bear and his First Nation buddies weren't hopping into kayaks to block whaling ships, probably because they were too busy killing seals to waterproof their kayaks. You also probably believe that the Native American, two-spirited First Nation something or other culture was a beautiful, pantheistic one of peace. The truth is, not so much. When Columbus arrived, the islands were inhabited by two main tribes. The Arawaks, who were passive and friendly, and the Caribs, who were vicious cannibals. The Arawaks actually lived in fear of the Caribs for, you guessed it, the reasons being that they hunted them down to enslave them and eat them. Yes, eat them. Ironically, we get the name Islands from those famous people eaters. The only way settlers were able to conquer this land was through the help of Native Americans who teamed up with them to settle the score with other tribes who were even bigger jerks than they were.
Okay. How did you put it? First Nation culture was a beautiful, pantheistic one of peace. Again, conflict happened. These things happen. And yes, there were times when settlers and natives took out other bigger tribes. But again, a lot of the time, there are still examples of them going out, defeating the one tribe, and then the settlers turning on their former allies in order to gain their resources as well.
That's not even to mention the populations in Central and South America famous for ritual human sacrifice. You think Cortez was able to command and conquer with only 500 or so conquistadors? Of course not. It took 50,000 screaming, angry allied natives who'd had it up to here with being tortured, enslaved, and forced to carry gold for the other native Aztecs. But so, he decided to roll the dice and go with the guys sporting funny beards and metal hats.
Okay, while this is true, it's also not entirely true. This isn't really not my expertise area, but I do know that a lot of it was based on the 500 conquistadors. Basically, they had one battle and they just fucking whooped the Aztecs. So
this is to say that the early settlers were perfect, or that they didn't carry out their fair share of pretty scummy stuff, but to use America's mistakes as the brush with which to paint the entirety of its history while completely ignoring the indigenous lifestyle of barbarism and borderline evil is inaccurate at best, dishonest at worst.
again, did not bring up the barbarity and the tragedy of Columbus. What are you so scared of, Stephen Crowder? Are you scared that your point is invalid, that we shouldn't be... Okay, indigenous... They're just saying to rename it to Indigenous Peoples Day so that they don't celebrate a known murderer and child slaver. Child slavery. How many times do I have to bring up the fact that he was a child slaver and a pedophile? Probably should have brought that up too. Yeah, pedophile. Major pedophile.
There were plenty of bloody, horrendous battles between the Europeans and the Indians. When a Neolithic tribe encounters a more technologically advanced people, the guys with the boom boom sticks usually win. Columbus is not the issue here, and never was. This whole Indigenous Peoples Day charade is about teaching your children to despise Western civilization and anybody who dare defend it.
Wow, that's a really bold claim. No, actually, it's to stop glorifying a man who is a monster. Child slavery, pedophilia, working the indigenous peoples to the bone in order to get gold that didn't really exist in Hispaniola. These sorts of things. I don't understand. God, Stephen Crowder, you're so fucking dumb.
But then again, that could just be my Western civ privilege talking. Happy Columbus Day.
That could be just my Western civ privilege talking. That could just be my utter stupidity talking, because I'm a stupid idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about. Hi, I'm Stephen Crowder. I have a successful YouTube channel, but I don't know why it's successful, because nobody should watch me. I'm so stupid. Alright, let's move on to... Actually, let me see if there's a different video that I would like to... I want to see... Where did I put... There is a video somewhere in here. Shit, where is it? Where is it? Oh, did I not save it? I thought I saved it. Damn, I thought I saved it. Alright, well, I'll find that video later. Well, you know what? Well, let's find it now. Is college worth it? Is college worth it? Is your 5-minute video worth it? No, it's not, because you're literally so fucking stupid. Andrew Clavin, a man who literally despises... Is he a dog or a stranger? I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't. We're going to court. Nobody gives a shit. Stand with Prager U. August 27th. Oh, it's happening today? I hope you fail. Oh, wait, I already did that video. I'm dumb. I was gonna do the left destroys... Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Sorry, viewer, if you're still there. Sorry, one viewer who is watching. I'm just dumb. Sign our petition. No. Nobody wants to sign your fucking petition, you stupid shit. Okay, okay. Here we go. Yay!
I hate and love telling people that they got the Congress they voted for. Nobody understands how the sausage is made. Civic groups, concerned citizens organizations, they kind of a Schoolhouse Rock understanding of how the system works. And I run into this constantly. Go ahead.
Explain it to like a 5-year-old.
I wouldn't.
Oh no, that's not the video I wanted. I wanted this one. I don't want your progressive income tax theory bullshit.
Once upon a time,
Ah, no,
there
stop.
were three.
Stop. Okay. This is a progressive income tax, a tale of three brothers. Let's watch and see how dumb PragerU has made this point of a progressive income tax.
Brothers, triplets, named Tom, Dick, and Harry Class. They were raised in the same home with the same parents, had the same IQ, same skills, and same opportunities. Each was married and had 2 children. They were all carpenters making $25 per hour. While they were very similar in all these respects, they had different priorities. For example, Tom chose to work 20 hours per week, while his brother Dick worked 40 hours, and Harry 60. It should also be noted that Harry's wife worked full-time as an office manager for a salary of $50,000. Dick's wife sold real estate part-time 10 hours a week and made $25,000 per year. Tom's wife did not work. Tom and Dick spent all of their family income. Since they paid into Social Security, they figured they didn't need to save for retirement. Harry and his wife, on the other hand, had, over many years, put away money each month and invested it in stocks and bonds. Here's how it worked out. Tom made $25,000 a year. Dick and his wife made $75,000, and Harry and his wife $150,000.
Cool. Now that we got this set up, I also want to throw out something. So we've got Tom, Dick, and Harry Class. We're going to say that they're actually just related. They're not related. They just happen to have the same last name. They did not grow up in the same household. Because when you're talking about a progressive income tax, we're not talking about 3 people who are the same. We're talking about radically different people. We're going to say Tom is black and lives in an inner city. We're going to say that he had limited resources in his high school, which made it hard for him to get anywhere past the high school level. Okay? And he's working a full-time job, but it's a retail job, and it's paying a little bit above minimum wage. Let's say that it's paying a little bit above minimum wage, actually. Okay. Let's say this. Let's say that Dick comes from a middle-class household in a suburban area, an okay suburban area. His high school had okay programs, had decent funding, and overall had a pretty well-rounded experience in high school. He, through a bunch of scholarships and pulling a lot of other strings and probably buying into FAFSA, got into college. and decided that he was going to work and that he was going to try and work as a teacher. Harry was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father is a corporate investor. They make lots of money. They live in a very wealthy neighborhood, and he goes to private school and gets the best tutors. Went to Harvard because his father paid. He, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He got in legitimately, but not really legitimately. So, let's say all this. That is the dynamic that we're talking about in this country. We're not talking about people who are saying, I'm choosing to work 20 hours. Sometimes it's people that can only get 20 hours because that's all that their job can give them. But they need more. And while, yes, buying into retirement is a good thing, the Social Security net should also be stronger because there's a lot of baby boomers who are going off into retirement. All right. Let us continue.
When a new housing development opened up in their community, the brothers decided to buy equally priced homes on the same private street. One day,
again, one lives in the inner city in a very poor neighborhood. One lives in an okay suburban area, and the other one lives in a mansion in the country hills. Yeah, all right, equally priced housing. Yep, go ahead.
the brothers decided to pool their funds for the purpose of improving their street. Concerned about crime and safety, and wanting a more attractive setting for their homes, the three families decided to install a security gate at the street's entrance, repave the street's surface, and enhance the lighting and landscaping. The work was done for a total cost of $30,000. Harry assumed it would divide the bill three ways, each brother paying $10,000. But Tom...
Yeah, because that's what the rich want. If they can keep as much money as they can and force the others to pay more, that's exactly what they want to do. That's why the rich don't like a progressive tax, is because the progressive income tax hurts them more. And now this is going to sound stupid, because it is. It's not at all what's happening.
Why should we pay the same as you? They said, you make much more money than we do. Harry was puzzled.
It's the amount of corporate tax loopholes and the amount of loopholes that the rich are able to jump through in order to make sure that they secure as much money as they can for themselves is astonishing. It's absolutely deplorable, and it's disgusting. So Harry, again, going by my scenario, not this video scenario, because this video scenario is not good, a multi-million-dollar man saying, well, why should I pay? Why should I pay for all this? You know, why can't he pay for it?
What does that have to do with anything, he asked. My family makes more money because my wife and I work long hours, and because we have saved some of the money we've earned to make additional money from investments. Why should we be penalized for that?
Again, it's not penalizing you for making investments. Again, your metaphor is dumb if you're saying that they're all equal. The problem isn't that the middle class is to be taxed more progressively. It's that the rich, the ones who have all of the money, are being taxed more. That's where we want. That's where the tax should go. Not to the middle class, not to the lower class, to the rich, to the upper class. That's where it needs to go.
Harry, you can work and save all you like, Tom countered. But my wife and I want to enjoy ourselves now, not 25 years from now.
Oh my God, Tom, you're such a dick. Also, PragerU, that's literally not the argument. The argument is, hey, I'm in this 9-to-5 job at a corporate store, And I'm not making enough money to pay my rent and to get my groceries and to feed my children. I feel... Meanwhile, the person who is running said corporation is making so much money, and I'm getting nothing. I feel that, you know, the person who is making so much money should pay the amount that they are making, just like I am paying the amount that I am making. But no. I want to live here and now, not 25 years. Shut up, that's not the fucking argument.
Tom, do what you want. It's a free country. But why should I have to pay for that?
Because, you little hairy bitch baby, you're rich. 45 minutes. Yeah, I'll finish this video and then I think I'm gonna get off for the day.
I can't believe you're being so unbrotherly, Tom argued. You have a lot of money and I don't. I thought you'd be more generous.
That's not... Again, you're setting up a lot of straw men here, PragerU, but that's not the problem. The problem is that they're not paying their fair share. Not, oh, you have a lot of money and I don't have a lot of money. Give me your money. The problem is, you have a lot of money and you're not paying nearly as much as you should be paying, while I'm paying almost as much, if not more sometimes, for what I have.
At this point, Dick, the peacemaker in the family, entered the conversation. I've got an idea, Dick said. Our combined income is $250,000, and $30,000 is 12% of that amount. Why don't we each pay that percentage of our income? Under that formula, Tom would pay $3,000, I would pay $9,000, and Harry would pay $18,000. I have a much better idea, said Tom, and one that's fairer than what you're proposing. Dick and Harry turned to Tom. Harry should pay $23,450. Dick, you should pay $6,550. And I will pay nothing.
That's not the fucking argument. Again, the argument is that the lower class, the working class, does not get skimmed life and limb for everything that they own. It should be that people can actually live on a minimum wage, not having to work 7 jobs. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but having to work 3 jobs just to be able to balance it. And what Dick proposed is actually very moderate. It's a very good idea, actually. It's a pretty good idea. I mean, each of them paying $12,000. Or 12%. Which is, it's a pretty good idea. I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's, because if you think about it, they're each paying what they should be paying. Except that's a flat rate. That's not the progressive income tax. At least I believe that's how flat rate works.
To Dick, this sounded completely arbitrary and not really fair, but it did have one big plus. His share would be $2,450 less under Tom's formula than under his own. So, he decided to be silent. Harry, however, was stunned.
Okay, cool. That's not how progressive income tax works. It just makes it so that the rich pay their fair share. Even if we don't have the progressive income tax, what we need to do is we need to close a lot of the loopholes and cut the tax cuts that we gave to the rich. Because the tax cuts didn't help the middle and lower class. It helped the rich.
You want me to pay almost 80% of the bill despite the fact that each of us is receiving the exact same benefits? Where did you get such a crazy idea? From no less an authority than the U.S. government, Tom responded as he pulled out a gray booklet. It's all right here in the IRS tax tables. This is the progressive income tax system all U.S. taxpayers live under. And I don't see why we should be any different. In fact, I believe all future improvements should be paid in this way.
Notice that's based on a 2008 report. I don't know if, I don't know. You know, it's almost like, I know I spelled that wrong. Don't. It's almost like, huh? It's almost like. It's almost like there was. It's almost like in 2008 there was an economic recession. And it's almost like this report is probably outdated. And also, it doesn't take into account the tax cuts.
Works for me, said Dick. So, by a vote of 2-1, the cost of the street improvements was divided as Tom had proposed, even though they benefited equally, and even though the reason Harry had more money was that he and his wife had worked many more hours than his brothers and their wives.
Okay. Sorry, I had to get that scream out of there because it was trapped in there from the amount of stupidity that you were saying. Sorry to any headphone users. Again, this is just so dumb. It's not that the rich don't work hard, right? I'm just putting it out there. The rich don't really work that hard. You think that they do, but they don't. Dinesh D'Souza, that's a terrible fucking man. Sorry, I'm gonna...
And had saved some of what they had earned, instead of spending it all. Tom and Dick lived happily ever after with their new arrangement. Harry grumbled a lot, but whenever he complained, his brothers called him greedy and selfish.
Again, your analogy works if you're just talking about people who are equally and, you know, if this situation was actually what was happening in the country, then yes, I would say that that is unfair. But that's not what's happening. And you know it, PragerU. You're lying. Maliciously lying because you have rich sugar daddy backers. And you want to take their dicks so far up your ass. You don't care.
The end.
Cool. Alright, that's the end of that. I'm done. I cannot... There's only so much PragerU you can handle in a day. Knowledge and clarity. My ass, knowledge and clarity. Alrighty. Thank you all for watching. And I hope that you all have a great day. And please remember to bash the vash. And have a great day.